Hello and welcome back to your yoga mat. Today we're going to work through steps of a journey and we're going to work through the pose half moon pose. So I'm going to give you some variations, a couple of props you might need for the different variations we're going to go through. You might need one or two blocks, possibly a chair instead of blocks in place of that if you like, and or a wall. So if grab what you want. You don't necessarily need any of these props, but it might help to assist you in working up to that pose. So you can always just watch this video once through and see what you need, but those are a few I would suggest. So we will get started with a quote by Zig Ziglar. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. So it's not about what you get when you achieve your goals, it's what you become. So we're going to work through half moon pose. And we're going to start with the first variation, which is going to involve a knee down. So this is going to help give us a nice, stable, solid base. So to start, I'm going to go ahead, we're going to start on our left side. So we're going to do a left side balance. And I should point out, half moon pose is a balancing pose. So that's where a wall or a chair could also come in handy. So we're going to take that left knee and you're going to just, well, let's standing on our knees. And then we're going to flip that left foot out and off the mat here a bit to the side. And then you're going to bring that left hand down out in front of you. And then now you've got your right foot out over here to the side. So what we're going to do here to start with our balance, get a nice solid base here. So you've got a nice little kickstand here. And all you're going to do is rise that right leg up out to the side and your your right arm up also. So we're in a very similar configuration of half moon pose here, but we've got the support of that leg helping us with this balance. And this is also going to be challenging because you're working on that strengthening, because in half moon, this leg is going to need to come up. So you can go ahead and release that back down for a minute. Take a breath here and work through that variation several times until you really feel comfortable. So this will help work up your strength and help work up your balance. This does require balance. So do this a few rounds if you like, or stick with this one. To make this a little bit more challenging, you can bring that left foot back over. And so now it's right in line with the other one. That's going to challenge your balance even more. So you could go here if you think you're ready to do that. I can tell I'm awfully wobbly. So you can just offset that foot just a little bit, just enough to give you that kickstand and make this a little easier. But it's still a challenge. So work through that variation as much as you like. And I'll show you in the next variation, but you can always stick with that one and work through that one until you feel ready to move on to the next one. This next one, I'm going to show you with a chair, and then I'll show you with blocks. It's going to be a similar idea, but the blocks obviously are going to be the ground will be a little lower for you here. So I'm going to grab my chair here. And if you don't have a chair, I'll show you with blocks. So just stay tuned for that. But it's the same idea. So you could stack up a couple of blocks and they just won't be as high. But I'll show you with the chair because I think this is the next natural progression. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stay with just the left side for now. And obviously, if you're working through that variation, you can do both sides. So you could do with your kneeling, and you can do the right side. But we'll go ahead and start with our left. So we're going to go ahead and step that left foot forward. And then from here, we're going to actually turn ourselves out here. So we're turned open, so our hips are open. So in half moon, we're open to the side here. And then you're going to bend that left knee, bring your hand to the chair or block, so they'll be further down. And here's where we're going to balance. So to start, you can simply get into this configuration with your right leg down. And then as you feel ready and steady, kind of lift that back leg, that right leg up any amount so it could stay lower to the ground. You could keep a bend in your left knee. Just work through this. Not even worry about lifting your arm right now. So we're lifting off here and bringing that back down, a nice little touchdown. And then after you've lifted off, you can always start to rise that leg up any amount more. And you can always add the right arm also, but as you can see, makes it a little bit more challenging. So again, there's a lot of variations here. You don't have to go right into it. And I'll show you that same variation with the blocks. So I'm just going to use one block on the higher setting, but you could also stack these up if you want a little bit more stable base. So instead of the chair, you could use blocks, the same idea. Going to bend into that left knee. My hips are turned here toward the edge of my mat. Hands will go on the block. And then again, when you feel steady, and you're gonna find your focal point there, and you can always look down at the ground to begin with, and rise that back leg up any amount. You can leave the arm down for now. Touch down as needed. So you always have that option. You can touch down when you need to. And if you feel all right to look off to the side, you can. But to make it a little easier, I would suggest looking down at the ground. And then rise up here with your hand on the blocks. But again, your gaze down at the ground is going to help make that a little bit more steady for you. And then lastly, well, actually not lastly, but yes, lastly, I do believe. So we're going to do this. The last variation is the most challenging of all. No blocks and no chair. Now, you could also do all of this against a wall. So you could do that with the blocks and just back up against a wall and use the wall to help support you. And you could also do that in this next pose. So if you had a wall, and imagine I've got a wall back here, you're just placing yourself right up against that wall. So now I've got a nice something to fall back into. But now we're going to come into no props. And this is where you have to work up to this because you may find yourself kind of tight and unable to get your hand down to the ground, and that's okay. That's where the chair and the blocks come in handy. So to come into this variation, again, same setup. Return to the side of our mat. Our left leg is bent forward, and we're going to bring that that left hand down to the ground, and then either look at the ground. That's a good way to start, and then lift that back leg up any amount. You can keep it close to the ground. You can keep it bent in your left knee. And when you feel like you're okay, feel free to slowly turn your gaze to the side. Bring that right arm up if you feel like you can do that. And fly into half moon. Whew. That is a challenging pose, but it is a great pose. It's balancing, it's opening up the side body. So for fun, I'm going to go through that same sequence. We'll just do it on the other side. That way you can see the other side. I'm going to do it facing this way so you can see it from a different angle also. So we'll get started by coming back down to our knees. So let's run through those variations one more time. And let's see which one you like best. And all of them you're getting a nice benefit from. So don't feel like one is better than the other. It's what feels good in your body. And you work up to them. It's a progression. Steps of a journey, don't forget. All right, so come up, stand on your knees. We're going to bring that right leg out. We're going to our left side, or right side this time, right side. And you can bring that leg out as much as you want. So come all the way out, or it could come just at a slight angle. The closer in you have it, the more balance you're going to use here. So again, kind of just as you need to. I'm going to go to a slight angle. My right hand is coming down to the side of the mat. My left leg is out behind me. And my left arm is on the side here, on my hips. So from here, go ahead and rise up that left foot out to the side. I'm looking out to the side here. And if you feel steady and strong and stable, lift that left arm up. You can always tap that left leg down, keep your arm down. There's so many variations here, but working here, you're going to work through that strength. You're going to be strengthening your core. You're opening up the front of your body. So there's that variation. That's a great one to work through. Stay there if you really feel like that's where you need to be. Nothing wrong with that. So we can also do the chair again on the right side here. So we'll do the same idea, same setup. Or you can use your blocks. Pick which one you would rather have. You want the floor closer to you, or you want to be closer to you want to have a higher surface or a lower surface. I'll get my words together eventually. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to turn out. And now I'm facing to the left. My right foot is forward. We're going to bend into that right knee. Place the hand on the chair or the blocks. And then when you feel ready, go ahead and lift that left leg up any amount. And you could just do these. I call these like touchdowns. Just do a little touch back and come back up. So try that a little bit and see how that feels. And when you feel like you're okay, chair is a nice, helpful prop here. You can fly into your half moon. Great place to be also. And touch back down. And again, you can always do all of this. If your balance is really off and you're really trying to work on that, find a wall to get up against. So imagine this is a wall. I'd be up against that, and that way I have something to kind of fall into. So we'll try it with the blocks now. I'm going to keep mine stacked up. You could do one, you could do it on a higher level, medium. Again, this is something you just need to play around with. Or any other prop that you have that is like a block that just brings the floor up to you. Same setup. Facing the side of our mat, we'll bend into that right knee. And then go ahead and bring the right hand down to the blocks. And if you'd like, look down at the floor. That'll help with your gait, with your balance. And when you feel all right, go ahead and lift that left leg up any amount, straightening that right leg so your right foot is pointed forward. And then come into that any amount that you feel. And rise that arm up if you feel like you've got that. And back down. And then lastly, for those that are really feeling it and like, okay, I feel like my balance is good, or maybe you've got that wall, that's a really nice option. Same idea, turn to the side, bend into that front right leg, right hand down. And I like to kind of have this off to the corner of my mat here, so slightly offset from my foot, gives you a nice base there. Lift that left leg, fly that left leg, fly that left arm if you feel steady, and really open up in the full expression here. So you're definitely turned to the side. You're opening everything up. You're balancing. And drop it back down. Let it all go. Shake that all out. Whatever variation you stopped at or were at is fine. There's no right or wrong here. Thank you so much for joining for this little Steps of a Journey half moon pose. I hope you enjoy playing around with that pose. I love that pose. Sometimes I balance great in it, and other times not so much. That's just the day-to-day. That's why it's called a practice. Thanks for joining me.